Hey, I'm Randy, and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. Here at The Cheap Audio Man, we talk about high-value, hi-fi, home theater, and headphone equipment. And today, we're talking about 10 reasons why you need to go buy CDs right now. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about why you need to buy all the CDs. Number one reason why you should buy all the CDs. Right now, they're available on the used market everywhere. Thrift stores, eBay, doesn't matter. Dumpsters, probably. There are CDs available right now. You can expect to spend anywhere between $2 to $5, maybe even $8, depending upon what type of shape it's in. $3 to $8 or even $1.50 is not a bad deal for physical media. We'll get into it in another reason, but you don't have to worry even if it's not in perfect condition. Number two reason, CD transports are cheap. You may disagree with me on this one, but you can get a DVD player with a digital output or a Blu-ray player with a digital output for probably less than $50. New. On the used market on Facebook Marketplace, you can probably find a DVD player or a Blu-ray player for $10, $15. Now, what one would do with that is hook it up to their receiver or a DAC going into a 2-channel system. Then you'd simply use the DVD player or Blu-ray player as a CD transport. The only thing that transport means is that you're not using the onboard digital to analog converter in the Blu-ray or DVD player to make the music. Generally speaking, a lot of these cheap Blu-ray and DVD players don't have a good DAC in them, but your AVR receiver probably has a decent DAC. If you have an outboard DAC for your 2-channel system, then that's probably even a better DAC. So if you're interested in getting into CDs, just go out and buy a DVD player or a Blu-ray player with a digital output, could be coaxial or digital, and you have yourself a cheap CD transport. Number three, CDs sound better than streaming. Even the same track, even the same version. I know this one might get me into hot water, but anecdotally, I have talked to multiple patrons about, hey, do you think CDs actually sound better than streaming? All other things created equal, same DAC, same speakers, same amp, and astonishingly, they said yes. In every case, they said yes. I have not had one person say that streaming sounded better. Now, there's tons of variables, right? If you're streaming from your computer, if you're streaming from a dedicated streamer like a Weem Mini streamer or Bluesound Node, a lot of variables in there. But when I have 10 people telling me the same thing, whom I trust, then there's something valid to it. Now, I probably should do that A/B comparison, but I'll take the word of 10 of my friends instead of doing a whole thing by myself. Number four is a little program called Exact Audio Copy. It is a freeware, so it's free. You download it on your computer, you use it to rip CDs. Here's the thing about Exact Audio Copy. I think other software platforms out there will do the same thing. Anyway, it rips your CD. You can rip it to a whole bunch of different file types. So ALAC, FLAC. I think it does WAV and then it converts it into FLAC. Doesn't matter though. You can do a bunch of different formats. What it does though when it's ripping the CD is it's checking for errors. And when it finds an error, it goes out into the cosmos and finds a fix for it. And then it makes your version fundamentally perfect. It's free. You can take your whole back catalog of CDs that you've had from the 90s and you had them laying around in your Dodge Laser. Your buddy's stepping on it when you're sharing Cool Ranch Doritos and Mountain Dew, the back of your Dodge Laser. Point being is you can take all the old stuff you already own, rip it to a hard drive or your NAS, and fix it up for free. I mean, you need a computer and you need a disk drive, obviously. For free, though. Springboarding off of Exact Audio Copy. Number five, 2 words. Make CD. Come on, we're talking about the OG playlist. You could argue that cassettes were the OG. You could argue that reel to reel was the OG playlist. But it's pretty easy to make a mix CD once you have your external CD drive. It's a lot of fun. And you're not just letting, you're the algorithm. You're not letting Tidal or Amazon Music or anything else be the algorithm. You get to do it. And then you have a physical product and you can put a Sharpie on there. Maybe you do one for each holiday. Happy St. Patrick's Day to me. Or you could send them to your favorite friends. Point being is you can do a lot of things with a mixed CD, but it's fun. It's gonna take you back to simpler times where you used to do this and write a little note, put it in some girl's locker. And this was before restraining orders. So you could be a little bit persistent with her until you really got the message that this isn't gonna happen. And usually it was her older brother or something like that. Ah, memories. Number 6, physical media is fun. It is. I know, some people are going to say, no, it's not convenient, I don't like it. I like sitting in my chair and letting the music robots play and suggest music for me. That is fun, and that is very convenient. But there is something to be said about taking something off the shelf, opening it up, and putting it on a CD tray. And then vinyl is very much that way. But vinyl is much more labor intensive than CDs. So I enjoy the nostalgic part of taking something and putting it somewhere else and then having music play. Because that's what I did when I was a kid, whether it be vinyl or CDs or cassettes. So there's something nostalgic about having physical media and changing it out. And if you don't have those mixed CDs, then you are more likely to listen to a record in its entirety. And there's something fun about listening to a record in its entirety. How the artist intended it. Now granted, it's our music, so if we don't want to listen to the whole album, we don't have to. But with a CD, you're more likely to listen to more of the album, at least. Number 7, CDs are cheaper than ever. And I'm talking about brand new ones. I'm not talking about used ones. I'm talking about brand new CDs. Go on Amazon right now. Now, they've gone up in price a little bit. Seems like a little bit in the last year. But I could regularly, when a new record came out, get the CD for $9.99, sometimes $12.99. Usually it was $9.99 though. So whenever a new record was released, almost always I could get it for $10. $10. That's cheaper than what it was in 1988. 1988, a CD was around $13. If you take into account inflation, that's $30 now. CDs are way less than $30. They're $16 to $18. And with streaming music, now you can preview whatever record you want to until that you vet it and you say, okay, this is acceptable for my collection. And then you go buy the new CD. I want to drive this home. What other product out there is pretty much the same price as it was 34 years ago? Drop it down in the comments. And it can't be commodity based. So it can't be like gas or oil, anything like that. It's got to be something that has a little bit of manufacturing to it. It's pretty amazing. The 8th reason why you should go out and buy CDs right now is because CD shipments within the United States increased 40% from 2020 to 2021. But before you get super excited and scared, from 2000 to 2020, CD sales have actually dropped 96.3%. Almost completely gone off the map. Vinyl sales have gone up. Sales of compact discs has always been around. There's somebody is still buying CDs, but they have gone up significantly. The problem is when you say a 40% increase, it's way more impressive than saying, hey, they shipped 8 million more CDs this year and they only shipped 36 million last year. But I thought it was an interesting statistic to talk about. Now, before that statistic freaks you out, we have to think about something. We as audiophiles, hi-fi enthusiasts, have always been outliers within whatever musical curve there is. If vinyl's okay for the masses, then we're looking for that special pressing. We always want something a little bit better. Even though sales of CDs have plummeted, there is always going to be a market for us, the audiophile, the true enthusiasts in the hobby. Where everybody else is streaming, some of us still want our physical media. And I think now is as good of a time as ever to get some because it's cheaper, it's easier, and you build a backup to your streaming. Number 9, you can buy a legitimately good CD player. somewhat affordably. Not the throwaway ones that were ubiquitous in the 90s. I'm talking about decent because the only people that are making CD players now are kind of interested in making CD players. It's just not another piece of consumer electronics. So you can get CD players from places like Cambridge Audio, Denon, Marantz, Audiolab, Emotiva. There are dedicated audio companies still making CD players today. Smaller quantities, but you can make sure that those movements, the mechanics are vetted a little bit more. Granted, there's fewer to choose from on the market today, but you can get a CD player that has a decent DAC, or you can get a CD transport for around $500 or less. Not a ton of options out there, but one still can. And on the used market, if you know what you're looking for and it still works and it's something that can still be serviced, then that's another option too. For CDs though, I probably would spend a little bit more on a new product to make sure I had warranty rather than buying a 30-year-old product where I might not be able to get it fixed or serviced. And the parts may not exist anymore. So sometimes springing for a new CD player might be the right decision for you. The 10th reason why you should go get CDs is because you never know what's going to happen. We think we have unfettered access to the internet at all times for streaming. If something goes wrong, if we're driving across North Dakota and we don't have access to cell coverage the whole time, we're going to want to have at least a digital hard copy on our phones. We can get a digital hard copy by ripping our CDs or buying new CDs. Obviously, you can also download music offline from your streaming services. But if a winter storm comes in and knocks out internet and electricity, and you're like me and you have a generator, then you might want to listen to some CDs. I think it's a good idea to be a bit diversified with your music collection. I personally like hard copies. I like to take those hard copies and burn them to my NAS and still keep my hard copies. Some people do that and then store it in a vault, hermetically sealed, with very low humidity. I don't go that far. I have some on a shelf back there, but I will burn them and I pop them on the shelf and then I listen to them. You never know what's going to happen. And the cool thing is you can preview every CD that you buy from now on because most of us have a streaming service. Right now, I think CD prices are going to be going up. And like vintage audio equipment, there's only so many vintage CDs available. At some point, they're going to be like used records and they're going to start going up. If they haven't already. I have noticed that they have started going up on the used market. So have some fun, collect some CDs. If you want to support the channel, you can check out my second channel. I will link it right here. It's about watch reviews. It's a lot of fun. You can also use affiliate links on this channel, sign up for my Patreon, or sign up for Amazon Music or Tidal. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen through your CDs and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.